I really didn't think that through. I was thinking as I was chewing on my cheese that what would be really clever, well, not clever, what would be kind of entertaining and a little awkward is if I was like, oh yeah, between every one of these sub parts, I'm going to eat a piece of cheese. And that's where my mind is at right now, is that was kind of funny to me. It's probably funny watching me go through this, but it was pretty funny to me at the time. At the time being like 4 minutes ago, 40 seconds ago. Rough. And so what I left off with last time was that I was going to talk about Hamilton and how amazing of a musical it is. And I'm not super critical of it because I just thought it was really cool. It was an overall impressive experience, and I'm sure there were plenty of literary or musically talented people who would love to criticize it and say why it's not great. But I overall had a great experience, and I just wanted to share that pleasantry with y'all. If you didn't have a great experience or you never actually saw it and you just want to rant anyway, feel free. I mean, you can do whatever. It's your life. But I very much enjoyed this musical, and I'm not a huge fan of musicals in general. I almost threw out High School Musical there as like an example of one that I'm not a huge fan of as a musical, and I'm pretty sure someone would have like turned over in their grave. So ignoring that, I'm just not generally a huge fan of musicals. It's nothing personal. I just, in general, have seen a few and been like, oh, okay, these are okay. They're decent, and I've played in a few. I've played in the pit orchestra for a couple of musicals in high school, and those are different. High school musicals are not to be confused with High School Musical, but high school level musicals are a little bit different from professional productions, and those are in turn a little bit different from, or Broadway productions I think are a specific subset of those that are sometimes held to a higher standard or sometimes perceived as higher, even if they are not inherently. And so there's all this like stuff going on underneath. But I went to this one at a civic theater, and it was awesome. And the cast was just amazingly well, I guess, I was going to say versed in what they did, but that's kind of silly. Of course they are. But they were just particularly emotive of what I expected and what I was okay with not having expected, I guess. It's hard for me to articulate here, but I enjoyed how relatable a lot of the characters were, despite being portrayals of people like Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and George Washington and Alexander Hamilton, all figures that I looked up to and still, I guess, look up to in a way, not necessarily as heroes or as, people on pedestals so much as just really kind of cool people that did cool things. And they did a lot of uncool things too, and I've done plenty of uncool things, and so in a way I kind of relate, although I've not done some of the uncool things that are on the level of some of the uncool things they've done, and to say it that way trivializes some of the, I guess, the magnitude of some of the horrors that they have committed, but I think they also created acts of great wonder. And so, there's balance. People are complicated and balanced, and so I think that is interesting. And I thought that the musical did a very good job, a very interesting job of portraying that, especially in the cases of Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson, where they portrayed Thomas Jefferson a little bit humorously, like kind of as a comical character, as kind of an annoying character. And I don't know how he was in real life. If I did, that'd be kind of cool, but I would never reveal that secret. But also, I think that it doesn't really matter so much as they displayed him as a not incredibly complex, but slightly more complex than a one-sided, I am a historical figure, you will respect my authority. And so that was really cool. Plus, the whole play is just, or the whole musical is very funny. Like, there's a lot of commentary in there, and there's a lot of just, I say commentary meaning just that they talk. There's a lot of small, snide remarks at each other that each of these kind of political and historical figures makes that I thought was particularly funny. Like, Hamilton makes fun of Thomas Jefferson for having not fought in the Revolutionary War, and how he does whatever the hell he does in Monticello. That's all really cool. I thought that was really funny, because I say really because on the spot I'm not coming up with particularly creative adjectives or amplifiers for my adjectives, but they had particularly interesting ways of expressing this humorous attitude towards very kind of serious, very august figures, right? And so I thought that was awesome. I was able to relate almost to some of these figures, to Hamilton's strife, to Hamilton's inability, I guess, to control himself sometimes. And I mean relate in the sense that I could see that he was human, and that was cool. I like being able to see that people and the people around me are human, no matter what they are. Political, historical figures, parents, adults in general. And that'll lead me to my next topic in video number 3 for today.